Hi, everyone. Welcome to episode 8 of Mini Clinics with Mitch. My name is Mitch Braley. I'm a member of Racquetball Canada's National Development Team, coming to you from my basement on behalf of Racquetball Canada. The past few weeks, we've looked at a lot of different exercises you can be doing to strengthen your body for racquetball, whether that was legs or core. We looked at some speed and agility. Last week, we talked about some common mistakes people make on the court. And although nothing can really be a perfect substitute for being able to actually get onto a racquetball court and hit the ball around, there are a couple of ways that you can make use of your racket in your home just to be hitting around a little bit, having some fun, and at least improving some of your hand-eye coordination and a little bit of your racket skills. So we're going to dive into a few ideas and things that you can be doing at home that are going to hopefully translate onto the court when they open up again. So the only thing you're going to need for today, rather two things. Number one, something that all of you should have at home, and that is a racquetball racket. Number two is a foam mini hockey ball. I've included the picture here on the slide. That's the exact 12 pack that I bought, I think on Amazon. Get it at Walmart. I saw it online, probably any sporting goods store. It's like $10 for that 12 pack there, but super handy to use, something that you can hit around in the house against a wall without marking things up or destroying anything. I'll have some video of myself and how I tend to use it. And this is just one of those things where you can get as creative as you'd like. If you have some space outside against a fence or against a garage door or a piece of plywood, terrific, use that. I just like to use the foam ball because it doesn't mark up the walls in the room that I hit around in. For some of these, you could probably even use a rolled up ball of tape or even a rolled up ball of aluminum foil. Will probably do the trick just as well, but this has a decent amount of play in life, and I found it's been super effective without being able to get to the courts. So it doesn't get much simpler than this. This is really basic, as you can see. Again, the reason I'm not using a racquetball and I'm using the foam ball instead is this is a really enclosed room for me. Racquetball just has a little bit too much life. It's going to mark up the walls, so the foam ball is just perfect for a small little space here. If you have a fence or something outdoors that you're okay to hit a racquetball against, sure, by all means go for it. But if you're indoors like I am, foam ball is great. But all I'm doing is I'm just hitting the ball about as quick as I can against the wall and tapping it. And I think this is a nice way just to work some of your hand speed, some of your control for some quick touch shots up front. Again, far removed from being on an actual racquetball court with a racquetball, but making sure that I'm maintaining my forehand grip if I'm hitting forehands, maintaining my backhand grip if I'm hitting backhands. I really believe that doing something is better than nothing. So just working some hand-eye, working a bit of quickness, reactivity, and you can say I even struggled there at the beginning just because the foam ball I do find is a little bit light, so it tends to sway in its pathway a little bit, and I have some grooves on the paneling in my wall here that it catches and flies off. But again, better than nothing, and this is a nice little warm-up to some of the other little activities that you can be doing. We're going to take a look at shortly. So the next natural step here is hitting the ball and letting it bounce once before contacting it. The really important thing that I like to work on this is the racket prep. So as you can see, again, it's tricky because I'm so close to the wall and don't really have time to, I'm not doing a full swing like I would on a court and then bringing my racket back up to prep. But I'm hitting the ball and I'm getting my racket up as quickly as I possibly can, just to really try and build the muscle memory of racket prep. So once I've hit the ball, I got my racket back up again, I'm waiting for the ball. And there's not a lot of time here. If you have a bit more space, and it probably works a little bit better, but this is the best that I could do in an enclosed area. So backhand is even tougher. But again, mix it up. So hit some high shots and let it bounce, and hit some lower ones that are going to be tougher when the ball is coming back a little bit quicker, but really focus on the racket preps, not just hitting the ball and then letting the racket drop down. Really try and simulate some things that you'd be doing within a game scenario. And like we talked about in the first drill there, make sure that you're using your backhand grip for your backhand and your forehand grip for your forehand. You're not getting sloppy and just holding the racket any which way just because it's not a racquetball and you're just kind of playing around, so to speak, and having some fun. This one here is probably my favorite little exercise out of everything else we're going to be looking at today, but all I've done is I have a corner in the room and I'm just hitting sort of a pinch shot or corner shot to myself over and over. So I'm hitting forehand to my backhand, forehand to my backhand over and over and over again. And you can see the ball moves pretty quick in that tight space, even this little foam ball. So it's great for working your reactivity, your responsiveness to the ball, quick hands up front. So challenge yourself to see how many in a row you can do, how long you can keep the ball up in the air for. But doesn't take a lot of space at all, and I really, really enjoy this one. Here is super straightforward as well. Would not recommend doing it in a very enclosed space. My room is really, really, really tight, and the camera angle wasn't able to film the whole thing, but more so I'm doing this as a demonstration of how small the space can be if you're really constrained and need to be creative. But I'm just practicing my forehand and my backhand swing. Fortunately, I don't have anything in the room I can break. Would not do this in the living room or a family room or anywhere else where you can hit somebody or knock a vase off a shelf, picture frame off a wall. Probably should even wear eye guards too, because the ball does get whipping around pretty quickly. But if you do have a fence, I've said it before, side of a garage, even the wooden walls or panels you see outside of tennis courts, awesome places that you can even use a full-on racquetball to hit around, so you don't need to use the foam ball as a substitute. But again, just a nice way to kind of stay in the swing of things. I had to compact my swing a bit just to fit it in the video, even though it's a tight room, which isn't ideal. You want to get your full swing in, but making the best of what's available without having a full-on court and a racquetball available to me. And finally, we have just some fun target practice, which seems like it might be a bit gimmicky or a useless game, but really this is another great way to practice some control and practice some soft hands. So I have my foam ball again here. I even have a little rolled up ball of tape, and I have a foam roller that I showed you there that I'm just trying to hit the ball into, which is really difficult. I stopped the video and tried to reshoot it in the hopes that I could get it in on the first try and look to be super accurate, which I am not. Probably could have recruited a better player to do this one and demonstrate it here, because I don't think I ever get it in. So I'll just let the video run as you see my dozen or so missed attempts. But you could set up a water bottle, you could set up some taped up X's on a wall, really anything that you can hit a target at. If you have the ability to have some more space and hit on full swings and do some target practice, even better. But I think this is just good for working a little bit of control, a little bit of some soft hands that you'd be seeing at the front of the court, rarely sometimes even from the back of the court when you need a soft controlled shot. So just little creative things like this can be the difference between winning a couple of points or losing a couple of points in a match. And like I've said all video here, it's better than nothing. So get creative, have some fun, and find some different ways to challenge yourself, whether it's with a racquetball or a foam ball or some other type of taped up ball that you had to create for yourself. So I realized today was a bit of a shorter video, but couple of really important things that I wanted to get across was, even though it's not perfect, a foam ball or a makeshift ball is still a great way to work some hand-eye, your reaction time, your activity, and develop quicker hands, softer hands up front. So just get creative with the space that you have. Again, the room that I was shooting in for most of it was really, really tiny, but I'm still able to get some effectiveness out of it that is going to help me when we get back to the courts. And really don't get too stressed or critical of yourself. Just have some fun, hit the ball around. Make sure that you're using your proper forehand and backhand grip, and you're being aware of racket prep and trying to be quick and reactive. But there's no reason to get too upset or frustrated with little things like this that you're just doing for even a few minutes a day to help improve your game off the court. Like I said, something's better than nothing. But if you can make a difference in your game to score an extra point or two in a match or a game, that could be all it takes to push you over the top and win a tournament versus finishing runner-up or get into the later rounds of a nationals, and take advantage of the spring weather now that hopefully we're through most of the snow and the cold for the year, and we're coming into spring and summertime here. If you can get out against side of a building or against a fence, or like I said, the wooden walls and panels that you see outside of tennis courts a lot of time, then by all means get out with an actual racquetball and do that and hit until courts are an option again. So if you can keep your swing intact and work some hand-eye and work some reactivity of the ball, then that's fantastic. That's all I had for this week, Phil. Again, my name is Mitch Braley with Racquetball Canada. Thanks so much for checking in. Take care, stay safe, and we'll talk to you again next week.